So hi, so it's Ken again. So standing with your feet about the same distance as your hips or your shoulders apart, feet parallel to each other. Tilted forward, sitting down. Not too low. Tilted forwards, and then just relax into the legs. Arms relaxed down by the side, and turn your hands so the palms are facing behind you. Feel as if the palms and the inside of the arms are level with your posterior, your back. Make sure you're not sticking the chest or the ribs out. Keep your eyes open, looking into the distance. Looking way into the distance. So again, you can imagine looking deep into a lush green forest, trying to catch a glimpse of a beautiful, rare, shy creature. And at the same time, listening intently behind you. Listening intently behind you. Looking into the distance and listening intently behind you. Head as if suspended from above, pulling the belly towards the back. Mind into the dancing, push the tailbone down towards the floor, forwards and up. And this is an intent thing. And then sink and push your arms up. Push your arms up until the palms are facing in towards your chest, your shoulders, fingers point towards each other. Elbows not too high but not too low. Shoulders relaxed. We know this is the Cheng Bao, the prop and hug. The embrace posture. So you can imagine you're holding onto a large balloon here, or a ball, and just holding it without crushing or dropping it. You can imagine you have a large ball or a couple of balloons in between your knees, holding onto them without crushing or dropping it, as if sitting down onto a large ball. Get as much weight into your heels as you can without the toes coming off the ground. You can feel as if you're leaning against the wall here. Make sure the ribs aren't flaring out, the lower back isn't curving in, the tailbone's not kinking backwards. You're not looking up or looking down, you're not letting the head hang forwards. Touching the neck against the collar of a shirt, listening intently behind you, looking into the distance. Holding onto a large balloon in between your arms, a couple of balloons in between your knees, sitting down onto a large ball. You can imagine you have balloons underneath each arm, resting your arms onto these. You can imagine between your chin, your neck and your chest you have a balloon and you're holding onto that without crushing or dropping it. Feel the skeleton lift up inside the body, as if being pulled up by the golden thread on the top of the head. Looking into the distance, listening intently behind you. The Wei Lu is yang, the hips are yin. Soften the hips. Hips are relaxed. And imagine you have springs between the fingers of the two hands, pulling the hands in towards each other. So you don't want to crush this balloon in between your arms, so you're moving your arms out to the side, but not so much that you drop this balloon. This is an intent thing. Pulling in, expanding out. Imagine between your wrists and the back of your neck you have springs. Pulling the hands towards your face, your neck towards your hands. So you're pushing your hands forward and your neck back so as not to crush that balloon, but not so much that you drop it. Imagine between your elbows, cross-connecting down to your knees, you have springs pulling your elbows in and down. So moving them up and out so as not to crush these balloons underneath your arms, but not so much that you drop them. Imagine between your wrists and your ankles, you have springs pulling your hands in and down. So you're moving up and out so as not to crush those balloons, but not so much that you drop them. Imagine between your knees, you have a spring pulling the knees in, so you're pushing them out so as not to crush those balloons, but not so much that you drop them. You can imagine you have springs up through the inside of the body, from the soles of the feet to the top of the head, being pulled up, so you feel them pulling back. Remember, this is all an intent thing. Try and hold those intents. So if your mind is still wandering away, you're still thinking about your day, still worrying or stressing or getting angry or annoyed about something, adding emotions to something that's happened or something that could happen, you'll find it hard to hold on to these intents. So don't follow any thoughts. If you do notice your mind has wandered, just say to yourself, thinking. Smile, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bring yourself back to holding these balloons in between your arms, underneath your arms, between your neck and your chest, between your knees, with the springs pulling the fingers towards each other, the hands towards the neck towards the hands, the elbows towards the knees, the hands towards the feet, the knees towards each other. So expanding out so as not to crush those balloons. And an intent Relax the muscles you'd use to do that, but have the intent. So know this is our Pung, our ward-off energy, the first of the 8 powers in Tai Chi. 8 powers: Pung, Lu, Jian, Chai, Lia, Jiu, Kao. Ward off, roll up, press, push, pluck, split, elbow and shoulder. Pung, that expansive feeling, like a bubble that's inflated. Inward, equal amounts of inward and outward pressure. But that bubble, it's not hard force, it's relaxed. But it's strong because of that tensegrity, that connectedness, that spherical shape. So think like you are that balloon, that bubble, expanding out and contracting in. And lower your arms down. Lower your arms down. Okay. So I'll give you a side view here. You can keep facing forwards. Bring your heels together, or thereabouts. You don't have the heels together, but just in a normal standing stance. So not a shoulder width one, just your comfortable stance, And I'm going to step forwards with my right foot. Okay, we're going to do both sides, so you can start which side you want. But I'm going to step forwards, and I'm going to step forward with my right foot. My right arm's going to go up into a ward-off posture, into like a Pung posture, sideways posture. So sink onto your left leg and just expand forwards. So I'm sinking down, and I'm kind of just feeling the compression just pushing me forwards, and I'm expanding out like an airbag inflating, Feet shoulder width or thereabouts, comfortable stance. Sink onto the left leg and just expanding forwards. And my back foot followed there as well. So see, I went forwards there, I went forwards here, and the back foot just followed up to keep my good structure. So I didn't do this. Okay, sink down, pull the belly towards the back, sink forwards, head as if suspended. So you're feeling the spring of the back. So feel so pushing the tailbone towards the floor, forwards and up. Head as if suspended from above. Sink the chest to fill the upper back, or to round the upper back. Sink the ribs to fill the lower back. So you kind of exaggerate, you kind of have that flex of the spine. And feel a flex across your arms as well. So you're rounding the upper back. Like they're kind of like bows. A bow across the back, like a bow and arrow. The spine is a bow. And just going forwards. And the legs, we've got those bows in the legs as well. Moving from your center, push the tailbone towards the floor, or push the sacrum forwards and up. Or the sacrum forwards, push the tailbone towards the floor, forwards and up. Sink to the left leg and just bang, push your arms up. As if we've done this before in class. So I know we haven't been in class for a while. We've done this when a punch comes towards you and you meet the punch. Imagine a punch is coming towards you and you just bang, you're expanding into it, taking the power out of it before it could hit you. So the punch is coming towards you and you're getting there before it would hit you. And you can kind of roll with your arms ever so slightly. So you can roll the arms up ever so slightly, roll them up. So you could meet the force and you would roll it off like a pebble skimming across a lake. So you'd spin the punch off you. You can spin it down or you can spin it up. I tend to spin down because of my height. People tend to, if they're trying to punch towards me, I would send their punch down. If you're smaller than that, you'd send it up and over you and probably strike underneath as well. Sink, step. And you just got that expansive feeling, like that bubble, like that balloon, meeting a force, expanding into it. Remember, we're not hitting it. We're not hitting it with hard force. We don't meet force with force in Tai Chi. We're trying to meet a punch before all the power had been put into it. So they're trying to punch us here, and we're kind of meeting it here. Yeah. So they're trying to punch us here, but we're meeting it there. So before all the energy has got into it. So it's kind of developing that mind, that strength of mind to not do what the nervous system wants you to do. Something comes towards to hit you and you can't go out of the way. Okay? We're doing the opposite now. So we're going forwards and meeting that punch coming towards us. So sink and meet. And have that good structure we just worked on in the standing posture. We've been working on up until this, but we work on all the time, that good structure. It's not hard force, it's that soft force. So it's one of the ones, if the force was far too strong, and like you can't meet it and redirect it, you kind of go in and you would bounce off it, like a bubble bouncing off it, bang, without hurting yourself. We meet it and then bounce off. Okay, so it's not hard force. Let's try it on the other side. So sink, I'll do this side. Sink left foot, so left arm's going forwards there, and meeting, keeping the head up. Good structure. Sink into the heel, roll towards the toes, push forwards. And again, that back foot is following, so you're not leaving the bum behind, you're not doing this. Just following, it's just following the movement of the body. Follow the movement of the body. Sink, expand, like an airbag inflating in a car. So an airbag, it doesn't hit the passenger in the car, it engulfs them, envelops them, expands them, stops them from smacking against the dashboard or the windscreen. We have that kind of feeling. We're going forward and we're meeting inward force. And then kind of, if our expansion is more than their force coming towards you, you will bounce them off. If it's more than you, you will bounce off them without getting hurt. Okay, sink, right leg. Sink. Okay, so let's do footwork. So, should we do footwork first? No, we just did some footwork. We'll do arm movements first, and then we'll do the footwork after that. So, standing with your feet about the same distance as your hips and your shoulders apart, feet parallel to each other. Sitting down, mind into the dantian. Just start to move it from side to side. Moving from side to side, sinking down. So the same sort of spring you just had in that last exercise, sinking down, bouncing out. Make sure the tailbone's not. We know we want our neutral spine in Tai Chi. A normal spine, tailbone kinks backwards, the lower back curves in, maybe the lower ribs flare out, the chest sticks out, and the head hangs forward. We're trying to take these out and get that neutral spine. So pushing the sacrum down towards the floor, tucking it forward, pushing the tailbone towards the floor, forwards and up, pulling the belly towards the back, sinking the ribs to fill the lower back, sink the chest around the upper back, ears being pulled back to pull the neck against the collar of the shirt, lifting, feeling with the head. Intent thing, not tensing to get these alignments. It's an intent thing. A mind connectedness with the connective tissue. For relaxing the muscles. Sinking down, the hip goes backwards, knee goes forwards. Breathing in, breathing out. The hips are, the core are yin, the Wei Lu is yang, not hard and soft. There's varying degrees. Breathing in, breathing like sinking down to something floating on water, like sinking down to a trampoline or a bouncy castle. Mattress with springs, sinking down, breathing in, bouncing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Let's bring our cross connection to it. So left leg to right leg, push up the right arm. Breathing out, lowering it down. Breathing right to left leg, push up the left arm. Breathing out, lowering it down. Breathing in. And breathing in. An intent thing, not a tension thing. A connective tissue, springy feeling, not a hard force here. A tensegrity of the connective tissue against the bone. Minimal amount of muscular effort. When we know we're relaxed, we're not collapsed. Have that pung feeling. So coming up, moving, the body moving in all directions here. Imagine if you were to meet a force, it would either bounce off you, if your expansiveness, your pung is better than theirs, or you would kind of bounce off of that force there, if it was greater than yours. And that's with every part of your body. So you can feel the resistance of the air. You know, your expansiveness is greater than the air, so you can move through it. You're expelling the air, pushing the air off of you. And you can feel as if you're moving through something thicker than the air, like you're moving through water. So your expansiveness is still greater than that. If imagine you're in the sea, a massive wave comes towards you, bam, it would move you, but you would keep your pung, your structure. You can imagine something thicker than water. Oil, imagine you're moving through a crowd of people, expanding through them. Their force is greater than yours, you move around, just keep expanding, not collapse. Bring the waist turning into it. We have our cloud hands. We did silk reeling last week. The silk reeling bigger than this. You have the same structure. It's just smaller. And really feel yourself moving like that ball now. Rolling like a ball. So like a ball, you have that expansive feeling, that pung feeling, expanding equally in all directions. So we're moving to the right, you're still expanding to the left. We're moving to your left, you're still expanding to the right, forwards, backwards, up and down. And if you met a force, if your pung was better than or greater than that force would bounce off of you. If that force was greater than you would bounce off them, but maintain your structure, your pung. You have this rotation of the forearms, as if dropping or pouring something from the up hand into the lower hand. So like when we had the bang, stepping out, you're rotating, everything moving like that rolling ball. So like that rolling ball, when one part moves, every part moves. If one part were to stop, every part would stop. Okay, keep going. Drop the weight onto the right leg, turn to the left, turn the left toes out. Roll into that left foot, make sure the knee stays in line with the toes, straight line down from the earlobe down through the centre foot, turning to the right, make sure the knee doesn't collapse in, left knee doesn't collapse in. Sink, make sure ribs don't flare out, lower back doesn't curve in. Sink and step, take a comfortable step forwards, maintain your feet shoulder apart. If you have too much tension around the hip flexor muscles area, the foot will swing forwards and in. You know, the width of the step in Chamanching style Tai Chi is more important than the length, and it's an empty stance, not a lunge forward. Push across. Push your arms up, just like we were doing, stepping there, then sink. Pull the right toes. Pull the left toes round with the turn in the waist. Make sure the bum's not being left behind. Just turning the dantian. Keep the tailbone pushed forwards and up. And just turn. Into our bow stance. 70-30 front stance, heads in the center. Right knee no further forward than the toes, in line with the toes. Left leg bent. Square the hips up, pelvic area tilted forwards, hanging down. Good structure. 70-30 front stance here, but the head is in the dead center. So it looks like a 50-50 divide to somebody looking at you, but you know you're in a front stance here, often called a hill climbing stance. Step back, feet shoulder width, sink left. Because we know if we want to go one way in Tai Chi first, to go the other way. Sink left, turn right, bang. So you have that expansive feeling like we just had when we were going across, when we're expanding forward. So you have this, bang, that feeling when turning to the side. And again, meeting that force, meeting the air, meeting any force coming towards you, you'd meet it. If your expansiveness was greater than that force, it would bounce off you. If that force was greater than you, you would bounce off it, but you'd keep your good structure. Back to your shoulder width, sink. This is our dong dang turn. Bang, expand, push across. Roll, raise the left heel, turn, sink and step. And this, you still have that expansion going forwards there, even here. Expansion, if you were to meet a force that was your expansiveness was greater than theirs, it would bounce off them, would be shoulder strike. If it was greater than you would bounce off that force. Step, expanding, meeting that force, and then ward off here. So the front hand palm faces towards you, the rear hand palm faces down underneath that. Squared up, tilt forwards, hanging down. 70-30 front stance, heads in the center. Expansive, pung. Sink. Expand. Step. Turn. Step. Expand. Sink. Feel the connectedness of turning the dantian. Feel the dantian's connected to the Wei Lu. Sinking and just pulling the left toes in, pivoting on the heel. We have right ward up. Sink right. Just sinking further, compressing. Feel those springs in the body, pulling. Roll back. Not too far back, tailbone no further back than the center of the calf muscle. Keep the nose in on the belly button. Make sure that you're not tensing the hips. Left arm swings past, push forwards. Bam, we have press. That expansive feeling. Imagine again, you can imagine just the pung feeling here. We know press is squeeze, like you're trying to pop a human-sized balloon here. So you're using your pung to pop a giant balloon here. So you could use just a pung thing and bounce them off you. Pung, bounce them off, or you could try and bang, pop their pung. Pop their pung there. So using not hard force, or so you just bounce off their pung. So you have to adjust your pung so you can pop their pung. Smother and pop their pung. Sit back, split. Elbows no further back than the center of the body, or than the flanks of the body there. Hands about the same distance as shoulders apart. Sink back, sink the wrist, feel the back. Make sure the lower back isn't curving, you're not flaring the ribs out, you're not sticking your bum out. Compress like pushing a ball down into water, or a balloon down into water. Again, pung, then release. The pung from this ball here and from your body. Pung, the hands no further forward than the toes. I'll keep facing sideways here, but you can keep facing forward. Sink, short roll back, roll back. So the body is load up all those bows, all those springs, and then just release. Pressing force, keep the head up, press, popping that balloon, that human-sized balloon. Sit back, split, pushing it down into water, tailbone no further back than the center of the calf muscle, sinking, make sure you're not locking out that front leg, you're not flaring the ribs out, you're not curving in the lower back, elbows no further back than the flanks, hands about the same distance, shoulders apart, pushing that ball down into water, and then release the buoyant feeling from that and the spring from your body at the same time. Bang. Roll back. And press. Keep the head up. Split. And push. Breathing in. Breathing out. In. Feel the resistance of the air. Feel as if you're moving through something thicker than the air. Adding those powers. Pung. In everything we do. Lu, that roll back like the rolling ball. Ji, press, squeeze, like popping that giant balloon, and like pushing a ball down into water. And pushing down. Bang. So for the martial arts side of Tai Chi, you have Pung in everything. You're meeting all that force. As soon as it touches you, you meet it, you blend with it, you know it. If it's greater than you, you can redirect it. Let it fall into emptiness, but don't collapse. Keeping your expansive. So even though you're going backwards, you're still expanding forwards. And then popping it. Popping their Pung, collapsing their structure, making the structure buckle. Bam, but not with hard force, with Pung. And then maybe they come rushing towards you and you direct their force into the ground. Their force falls into emptiness here. They try to retreat. Bang, you give them their force back. The force that they compressed in your body, you give it them back. And you add it to their retreating force. Pung, Lu, Ji, An. Which if your mind is still just kind of going through the motions, waiting for this to finish, like you're in a gym on a treadmill, listening to your headphones, watching a TV screen, not really connecting your mind with your body, then you won't be able to embody these forces, these powers in the body. So make sure you are trying to apply them to these moves. Because these moves aren't those powers. You can put those powers into any moves through the form, or pretty much any moves through the form. They are powers. So you have to really be mindful of what you're doing and put them, embody them as you're doing this. And that's where we kind of get the moving meditative aspects of Tai Chi. Beyond thinking, beyond kind of staying here in the moment, being present, connected, mind, body in this moment. And we practice Tai Chi over a long period of time, so we can just embody these moves. We don't have to think, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. It's just, we do these moves, we make these shapes and we embody, we have those powers. They are just something, they are things that we do. Repetition is the mother of all those skills. Remember, it's mindful practice, not mindless, going through the motions, oh, just doing this because Tai Chi is good for you. You have to connect mind and body in the moment. Try to be present. Which is hard. It is hard. Continuing practicing Tai Chi is hard. You've all done this, so you've kind of done that. You can do that now. But staying connected, staying mindful, especially when you're doing your own practice, when you do have things happening in your life and it kind of just thinking, just going through the motions. It's that ability to notice when your mind has wandered. That's a big step in the right direction, noticing when your mind has wandered and bringing it back. It doesn't matter how many times you bring it back, it's that practice of bringing it back that we really get the benefits from. And don't get annoyed at yourself when your mind has wandered. I'm still on the journey, same as you guys are. I'm not saying I've got this sorted. I'm not gone beyond that. It's work in process. Always work in process. The journey, not the destination. And with mindful practice along that journey, hopefully we learn something. But the learning process in Tai Chi is so slow that we don't notice the amount of skill that we build up. We keep putting down these layers with our daily practice, layers like layers of tissue paper. Just laying them down. Doesn't seem very big, but over time, those layers can mount up. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. That's all I've got for you today. So we'll just rub your hands. hands should be warmer than they were when we started this. Some of you might have really, really glowing hands. Rub the belly. Rub the belly. One way and the other way. So just seal the energy in the lower down and then all the way round. Up and down. Give the lower back a good rub. And get yourself a drink of water, and I will see you in the next film. So bye for now. Bye.